All right. Anyways, and good morning to everybody that I have not said good morning to yet. Okay, so you can see my screen. So in Google Classroom on assignment number 33, there is this teacher etiquette assignment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open that up, and actually I'll just make it bigger so you can all see it. There we go. And so that's the assignment, and that is the rubric. Okay. So basically the premise of this is that we've talked about keeping your personal like social media accounts to yourself and having a professional and a personal account. So what basically this assignment is it talks about the sort of how teachers should conduct themselves online and that kind of stuff. Okay, so there's a quick little video to watch right here. It's just a couple minutes, and then there's an article here. Now it is a bit dated, but it still applies very well. So there's some things in there that you might read and go, "What is that?" Don't worry about that. Okay, worry more about this. Is what you're going to do is you're going to create a infographic, and again you can use it and do it in Google Drawings. And you are going to create a top 10 list of do's and don'ts for professional communication. So talking about, parents, colleagues, community people, students, etc. Right? So anyone that you would send or talk to via whatever kind of electronic media, thinking about what should teachers do or what should teachers not do. Okay. And I'm sure it's some things in your head pop up right away, like, for example, don't type in all caps, right? What does typing in all caps signify or mean? Yeah. How come all you other people shouting, yes, yelling, shouting, right? So perfect. So yes, if you type in all caps in the, whatever online world, that means that you're yelling or shouting. Okay. So that might be one thing. Don't send an email to a parent that's in all caps, right? When I worked at one of the schools I worked at, my principal, no matter what email you sent to him, no matter what the topic was, it was funny. He typed in all lowercase letters. So maybe he was just like showing you like, I'm really mellow. I don't know. So anyhow, so you're going to create a Google drawing of your top 10 considerations. So what you're going to have basically is almost like your metaphor thing. You're going to have maybe a small, tiny little picture. You're going to have a brief explanation. Or some type of an example, okay? And that is, let me just see if I can make that even bigger. There we go, right? So right here, right, your top 10 considerations with a brief explanation or example. It's an infographic, so we want to have graphics or images of some sort on there. And you need to sort of decide whether you're going to use like little icons, or you're going to use some other kinds of pictures off from the web, or however. One of the things that the other class and I yesterday talked about is what might this look like? Well, if you are familiar with T-charts, does anybody know what a T-chart is? And it's not the kind of tea that you drink in your, there you go, in your cup. What's a T-chart look like? No one knows? You've all seen these hundreds of times. Right? Here they are. It's a line down the middle and a line across the top. Do's, don'ts kind of idea. So I think that might be the way to lay it out, but it is totally up to you. There is so, like if you look here, there's so many different ways to do that, right? You might want to do it like this. However you decide to do it, right? Here's one that they're showing you the pros and cons, or the do's or the don'ts. I don't know. To me, logically in my brain, that's how I envision it. But you have complete and total poetic license on this. You can do whatever you want. You can use whatever colors you want. You can use fonts, all that jazz, however you want. Remember, though, that this is probably something that you would print and put on a wall somewhere. So let's keep our backgrounds fairly tame, so that we talk about printing resources, that we're not draining the printer of ink just to print the background of your Google drawing and of your infographic. So as a Google drawing, okay, only Google drawing, right? Your top 10 considerations, and then how you format it again, lay it out is up to you. It should be, of course, just like any kind of infographic, should be appealing to your eye. So use complementary colors and contrasting and those kinds of things, and use, you know, nice imagery, right? Or pictures. And that really basically is it. There's some other resources here that might, if you get stuck on your top 10 do's and your top 10 don'ts, there's some other resources here. And don't be afraid to do a Google search and going, you know, the do's and don'ts of, you know, teacher emails or something like that. I'm sure there's lots of resources that way. There is a rubric for it. So there's a little bit of stuff at the top. So it's kind of a rubric and a checklist. And don't forget, of course, this would need to be submitted with your overall infographic. Okay. Now, what kind of fancy name, Kim? A teacher? Yeah, it's a fancy name. Yeah. So anyhow, that's really that assignment. Pretty easy peasy. I don't know how long this would take you. How long would it? Yeah, maybe, I don't know, 20 minutes, half an hour. Okay. I think maybe the hardest part would be coming up with the 10 things on each side. Okay. And again, you don't have to do a t-shirt. I'll show you one that I kind of threw together after our last class. Was one that looked like this. Let me make it look a little bit bigger here. There we go. So one of the things that in our notes that we'll find out when we can do notes is that an infographic is sort of in its most powerful, I don't know, way, is when you can make the viewer's eye move, right? So in this, again, if we just look at this at a little bit smaller, you can see that we go from here to here to here to here, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So that forces the reader to sort of almost like interact with the infographic, right? It forces them to, you know, cognitively move their eyes and take in that information. So you might want to do it like that, because you could still do a do or a don't. Or, you know, if I were going to use this kind of idea, I might keep orange for the do's and, I don't know, green for the don'ts, or red for the don'ts, or something like that. So thoughts? Anybody? Questions? Does it seem pretty straightforward? Yeah? Okay. All right. We'll leave it at that then. Okay. So here's something that we're going to need to do, or that you're going to need to do. So in our RD Poly EDU accounts, you are not allowed to create Google Classrooms. Okay. So here's what's going to happen. Is you are going to have to use your regular Gmail to create your classroom. And here's how we're going to do that, or here's how I suggest that we do that, is that we're going to stay here in our RD Poly EDU account. But what we're going to do now, if you're using Google Chrome, which you should be when you're doing googly things anyways, because it's the browser for what we're doing, what we can do is, so I'm on a Mac. If you're on a Mac, you can go up to File and go New Incognito Window, or you can come to the three dots over here and go in New Incognito Window. If you are using Safari, there is the same command, but it's called a private window. Okay. On a PC, I'm not sure what it's called. Somebody, a PC person out there, tell me what the equivalent of an incognito window is in whatever browser you're using. Or if you're using Chrome, that's great. Then it's the same thing, I think. Is there any difference on a PC? Private window. Okay. And Nicole, are you using, what browser are you using? Are you using Chrome or what's the new, what's the Windows one now? Safari. You're using Safari. Okay, so that's good. Anybody using the Microsoft browser? What's that one called again? Edge, right. So Kim, are you using Edge? Use Chrome. Is anybody using Microsoft Edge? Just yes or no, or thumbs up, or no? Okay, so then we got to figure it out. So you're either going to use Safari in a private window, or you're going to use Google Chrome in an incognito window. So that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to go File, New Incognito Window. Okay, this is better than switching between your. Let me just close this up for a second. it is better than doing this and, you know, switching between your different accounts. Okay. So creating that incognito window, it comes up as a black window. Okay. If you go incognito, your browsing history is not saved. There's a lot of things that are not saved. So when you're doing your Christmas shopping and you don't want your sweet pie to, you know, go back and check browser history and see where you've been and what kind of things you're buying that person, you can go incognito or do a private window and they can't track you, kind of thing. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I'm in my incognito window. I am just going to type in just mail.google.com, and it's going to bring us up to, well, what's your Gmail you're going to use. So I'm going to use my personal Gmail called dcguy730@gmail.com. Okay, and then, oh gosh, what's my password? Or I might have to look it up. Okay, oh, give me one sec here. I don't use that account. I only use this account like once every semester. So let me just find my password here. There we go. All right. There you go. All right, and then of course, because and if you use an incognito window, you're going to get the two-step verification, or you're probably going to get the two-step verification if you set it up. I have, so I'll just say send me a text with that code. There we go, 530-767. All right. So then once we're in our regular Gmail, you can go to your tiles up here and you can find Google Classroom wherever it might be. It might be at the bottom. It might be here. Again, remember, you can drag any of these icons around and put them wherever you want. I'm going to put Google Classroom there. I'm going to click that. I don't need my email open anymore. And then what it's going to do is it's going to give you, and you can see all my previous ones from last term. Okay, now is everybody in this window? In this window, you probably don't have anything. Are we good? Anybody not good? Okay, perfect. So then what you're going to do is you're going to come up here. Oh, what's that? Go ahead, Aaron.
I'm not good. I'm not in that window.
Okay. Are you in your regular Gmail account?
Yes.
And under the waffles, did you find Google Classroom?
Yep.
And when you click Google Classroom, does your window look like mine, but with none of these tiles?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. You shouldn't have anything in there right now, right? So in your regular Gmail account, anybody can have a Google Classroom, okay? Because Google's philosophy is this: everyone can be a teacher and everyone can be a learner, okay? So what we're going to do then is we're going to click the plus sign up here, and for you in your RD Poly EDU one, all you get is join a class. Here we're going to go create a class. So again, you're going to do this as the teacher, okay? So yep, you might get that message. Just say sure. It's just a privacy thing for kids. Okay. Now, does everybody have the create a class window up here? Yeah. Okay. So class name. So you can see, I'll just cancel for 1 sec. You stay where you can see it's all over the map here. We got grade 1 language arts, we got social 9, we got science 3, drama 10. You can pick whatever class, subject, topic kind of thing that you want, okay, for your class. So create a Google Classroom that would show that you have these skills, right? This is also a great, once it's created, you can't share a link really to it, but once it's created, you could definitely, like for me, if I wanted to use this in my ePortfolio, I could take a screenshot of this and show that I have this ability to do this, right? This would go, that screenshot that I could take of this would go under, does anybody want to guess what TQS that would go under? No one can guess? That's okay. It would go under TQS number 1. Okay, because TQS1's all about those building those relationships with parents and with the kids and communicating with them and all that kind of jazz. Because in Google Classroom, and I'll just show you this in our other Google, our Google Classroom. Let me just close this up for a sec. If I go under People, see where it says here, Invite Guardians. So if you had Google Classroom in your K-12 experience, you probably, the teacher probably had this. This has to be turned on in the settings, but then you can invite guardians. So for example, Chloe here, right? I could click on that and I could type in, you know, mom and dad's email and go invite. And then what happens is that the guardian, the parent guardian, is able then to have access to that Google Classroom and see what their kid is doing. Okay, so that is kind of nice feature. And why one of the things that I like about it is that it then prevents any miscommunication, or it prevents the ability for anybody to say, well, I didn't know. Well, yeah, you did know, because you have access to your child's all of your child's grades in my class. You have access to their assignments. You have access to it all. So there should be no reason that parents are misinformed or don't know. And obviously same thing for the kids, right? So class name. Pick your class. Let's go social 20-1. Okay. The section, it doesn't really matter here, but what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to put in your teacher name. Okay. Okay. So throw your teacher name in there. The subject, you can leave. This can all be changed later too. So we're going to go social 20-1, your teacher name, and then pick a room. I don't know, 1, 2, 3, room 1234. I don't know, pick a room number. It doesn't matter. Or if you can remember your old class number, then go ahead and do that. Okay. Once you have all of those set up, then you can go create. Okay. Everybody good? If you're not good, give me a shout. Oh, go ahead.
Are we supposed to also put social 20-1, or can we?
No. Whatever subject topic you want, whatever for a class that you'd like to teach. Okay. All right. So then it takes a second or two and it pops up. Okay. And while you're all working on that, I'm just going to bring up this assignment in Google Classroom, our Google Classroom. Okay. There we go. Let me just go back here. Classwork. Scooch on down here. So Google, or I'll post this so that, yeah, I wasn't planning on doing it today. So we'll make it next, not Friday, next Thursday at noon. Okay. And all right. So there is a checklist that goes with this assignment. I'll just click assign right now. Okay. And so you've seen me do the some of the teacher stuff on the teacher end of things. So there is a checklist. It's out of 107 marks. Don't be intimidated by how many marks it's out of. Of course, it satisfies these TQS things and these CLOs. So let me make this a little bit bigger too. So TQS1 says the teacher builds positive and productive relationships with students, parents, guardians, peers, blah, blah, blah. So like I said, this Google Classroom works perfect for TQS number 1. So let's follow the rubric. So using Google Classroom, we created a classroom, your subject, grade, your first name, last name, and you're going to need a picture of yourself. So in your regular Gmail, of course, you would have a picture. Hopefully, you'd have a picture up here of yourself. Okay, I have a very, very small one of myself there. So this is the landing page. So let's take a look at what you can do just along the top. So first of all, it shows you the name of the class and your name, right? So kids would have no problem going, you know, if they had 4 or 5 Google Classrooms on the go, they would have, and I'm thinking non-elementary people, they would be able to look at their tiles and go, oh yeah, there's social 20, that's with McDermott. Yeah, okay, right, that kind of idea. The other thing that you can do right beside it in the little hamburger stack here is it will show you a list of all of your classes. So here are the classes that I'm teaching, and here are the ones that I'm enrolled in, okay? And the ones that I'm enrolled in, you're gonna make me a student in, okay? So those two things right up here in the top right corner. Of course, you're very familiar with what goes up along the top here. You've got stream, you've got classwork, you've got people. Do you have people as a student? Do you have people? I think so. And do you have grades? What's yours called? Can't remember. I haven't done this as a student. Anyways, you'll have these things at the top, okay? And so if we go to classwork, this is where it all happens. Just like in our this class that we're doing, everything happens under classwork. Okay. Under people, what happens is you can add co-teachers, and you can add students manually. Now, we don't want to do that manually. We could do it manually, I guess, but it just takes a little bit extra time. What we want to do is we want that invite code and have them use that invite code in class. Okay. And then, of course, grades is the grade book, and we don't have anything for that yet, so nothing shows up. Okay. So in our classroom, right, if I click people, there's everybody, right? And there's lots of things I can do. I can click on a few names here, right? And say those three people, Aaron, Aisha, and Chloe, I can go email, I can remove them, and I also can shut them up by clicking mute. Okay. So if you need to contact kids, you can do that right here under the people tab. Okay. And all right, let me just switch back to our other thing here. So those are the tabs along the top. And then, of course, here's the gear. If you click the gear, and please do that, it shows you basically all the stuff that we just sort of set up here at the top. So if there's anything that you didn't like, then you can put in, you can change this information anytime you want. Okay. Let's say you had to change your room. You could always change it to, a different room. Okay. Let's scooch on down here a little bit. So manage your invite codes. Right now, the invite code is turned on. How do you know that? I'll show you here. I'll just go discard for a sec. If I go to the stream, there's a class code right here. Okay, so that is currently turned on. You can do some different things here, right? This is actually a very brand new thing. You can copy it. You can do, and you can turn it off. So what I would recommend is that once you have all your students in the class, that you turn the invite code off. Because if, so let's say, I don't know, here we are at Red Deer Public Schools, and any student could give this invite code to any other student, and it could be in your class. So what I like to do is once I have all my kids and all my students, I like to turn that invite code off. But until I have them all and my class is set up kind of the way that I want, I leave it turned on. Okay. So the other thing you can do is you can reset the code. So if there's a problem, you can go here and you can go reset, and it just changes the code. So right now it's this code, right? So this TJOS. If I went here and said reset, then there we go. We've got a different code now. Okay. So you can always change the code as well. Here is that invite link. If you wanted to, I don't know, if you were going to email all of your kids, you could copy that link and send it to them. Again, what I would recommend is that you have them in your classroom, sitting in their desks with their, computers, laptops open. Give them this code. They enter it in just like you did for this class, and away you go. Okay. The next thing down is the stream. In here, there are some options. Students can post and comment. Students can only comment, or only teachers can post and comment. So depending on the nature of your class, depending on the age of your kids, and depending on how you want to use the stream, you would need to decide how to do that. In our checklist, it tells you how I want this set up. So make sure that you pay attention to that. Okay. Because you're adults, and this is a post-secondary class, in our class, for 1302, I have it that you can post and that you can comment, right? Again, depending on the age of your kids, you may or may not want to use this. Those of you that are going to teach K1, 2, if you're going, wow, I don't know, can kids use Google Classroom? 100%. I'm married to a grade 1 teacher. When COVID was going on, those kids were able to use Google Classroom. Of course, my wife showed them all the ins and outs of it, but they're able to use it. Other thing that I would do if I were you, and this was brand new, and you're introducing, is I would make introducing this to parents or guardians or whoever, is I would make a quick little how-to video on how do you use Google Classroom as a parent kind of idea. Okay. So then in the class, in the stream, classwork on the stream, what do you want to show? Do you want to show attachments and details, condensed notifications, or do you want to hide them? I choose this one right here, the middle one. In my classroom, But again, in the checklist, you can check out what ones we want. Do you want to show deleted items? I don't know. I don't. I delete them for a reason, and I don't want to see them anymore. So I get rid of them. Okay. Then there is the manage your meet link. Right. You can't really do too much to this unless you're the admin. Other than, like, we already know that you can change certain different things. So again, if we get out of here for 1 second, okay, I guess you can't turn it on here. Oh, interesting. Okay, it doesn't matter. That's all right. Okay, so it's usually right on the stream page, on the very top, where you can turn the meet link on or off. So in our class, there's a meet window right here. Okay, so I guess apparently in here you can't do that, and that's okay. All right, and then here is where you're going to set up your grade book. Okay, so there's some choices or decisions that you need to make. What do you want to show? And for us, you can just go total points. From our class for 1302, I go weighted by category. So, if you go to the course outline and you say, oh, assignments are worth 35%, then, okay, I'll just show you as an example here. Add a grade category. Down here, I can just go assignments, and I can say that it's worth 35%. And then the neat thing that it does is shows you, okay, you have 65% remaining. Okay, so then, some quizzes, tests, those kinds of things. So in our checklist, you will need to add, well, it's up to you. But you're going to need to, here's what you need to do. You need to add basically 3 assignments, 3 comments, 3 of everything. And I'll show you as we set this up. Okay. So let me go back up here, and I'm not going to set this up right now. Okay, so any changes that you make, then, in order for them to take effect, you have to click save. And you can see that I haven't done really anything wild or wacky, but I'll just show you. I'll get rid of that and come down here, and I'll turn that off. And it's still not asking me to change anything. Oh, it's okay. Okay, good. If it doesn't ask me to change anything, or save, then I'm going to go like that. Just close that up. Yeah, well, I know. Well, you're not giving me the chance. That doesn't matter. That's all good. Okay. The stream. Here's what I recommend, is that you do not put anything super duper complicated in the stream. Just like our class, right? If you go to the stream, it just goes on forever and ever and ever, right? Right all the way to the beginning of the term. So it's pretty much impossible to find stuff in there that you're looking for. I don't know why Google does not add a search bar in here. Isn't Google famous for, their searches and stuff? So I'm not sure why they don't add some kind of a search function here that you can actually search things in the stream. But so just like in my class, I put, obviously all of the assignments and stuff get posted there because I've got that function turned on. And then of course our meet codes for each day that we meet. That's really the only things that I put in the stream. I don't put any messages. I don't typically do anything else in the stream, only because by this time in the term, it just gets really, 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 really long, right? And I equate the stream, in my mind, I kind of equate it to like your Facebook feed, right? Down the middle of your Facebook page, right? So it's kind of like that. Okay. So that's a stream. Before we leave the stream, one of the things on the checklist is you got to change this banner. So come up to customize, and you can do a couple things. You can just go select a theme, and please do that. And then it gives you a whole bunch of different kind of canned ones. So, English and history, math and science, arts, sports, or other. So there's other ones that you can add, and you can do that, or you could add a photo, right? What I've used the photo before is when I take a class picture and have all my kids in there, I usually post the picture of all of them up there in the Google Classroom. Okay. Again, posting pictures of kids like that, just make sure that everything's FOIP'd properly, that you've got permissions to do that. For our purposes in this class, you can do either one, but doing a theme is probably the easiest. And I don't care what theme you choose, just change it. Okay. I don't know, what will I use here? It's a puppy dog one. Okay. So select class theme. And just like Google Forms and some of the other googly things, when you change a theme, it changes the overall kind of color. So now you can see that my text here is purple because I've got this purple thing going up there. So go ahead and just change the theme, and that will be great. Okay. As you are all aware of, as student users of Google Classroom, that in the stream, the other thing that's available here is all your upcoming assignments. Your upcoming assignments are within 7 days. So if it's a month away from now, it doesn't show up in here. It's just within the next week, it shows up. Okay. And so, yeah, so you will need to add 3 announcements in here when you create and finish your own Google Classroom. So you'll need 3 posts to the stream. Okay. And it can be something simple like, don't forget to bring your lunch money. Don't forget, that kind of stuff. So kind of like reminding or things like that, or whatever you want. Doesn't matter. Okay. All right. So for people, I'm going to skip classwork first. For people, you need to invite 5 people. Okay. That is me plus 4 others. Okay. That could be people in the class. It can be relatives. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. Okay. Now, the most common question is this. When I create assignments and stuff in my class work tab, do the people that I've invited to my classroom, mom, dad, brother, sister, do they have to do those assignments? No. Okay. You can arbitrarily give them any mark you want, just like I can, right? If you don't hand an assignment in, I can give you a 0. And of course, when I do that, it says, are you sure you want to give them this mark? They didn't, blah, blah, blah. So you can give them any mark you want. It doesn't matter. I just want you to show me that you know how to add the students, and then eventually how to give them grades and for their work that they've submitted. Okay. And then under grades, we can figure that out later. Okay. All right. So classwork, everybody go to the classwork tab. Just like you as a student user, you'll see Google Calendar up here and Google Drive folder. Okay. So you know that when you create a classroom in Google Classroom, it automatically creates a folder for it in your Drive. And you know that assignments that get posted with a date and all that jazz, they show up in your Google Calendar. And just like they would for your own students when you have your own classroom, it would show up there. So again, there is no excuse for your students, your parents, or whoever else has access to this class to not know when things are due. Okay. So here's basically, if you click the create button, here are the things that you can do. Okay. Now, as a student, of course, under classwork, you would not have the create button as a student, right? So here we've got these things that we can do. Now, you can create an assignment, a quiz assignment. You can create questions. And when you create a question, you get 2 choices. You get either to make a multiple choice question or a short answer question. Just like when you see it, you're going to go, oh, that looks exactly like Google Forms, which is exactly, I think, what it is. So I'll just show you. When I click question, and you can see right here, you get short answer, multiple choice. If I went to multiple choice, you can see, what, day is it? And then down here, as a multiple choice, you can go, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, whatever, right? You can do that. Or you can, like I said, you can ask a short answer question. Now, one of the other most common questions I get on the checklist or about this assignment is, well, in the checklist, Brad, it says that you need to use different levels of Bloom's taxonomy for your questions. And so how do I do that? Well, the general idea is this, is that if you create a multiple choice question, typically those are lower level types of questions, right? Those are remember, understand types of questions when you create multiple choice questions. A short answer automatically takes you up to higher level of Bloom's taxonomy. So so you got to create 3 of them. So create 3 questions, make 2 of them multiple choice and make 1 of them short answer. Okay. And again, your students don't necessarily have to answer them. Okay. You just need to create them and have them so that I can see them when I look at your Google Classroom. Okay. All right. Let me just go back here. So that's how you do a question. And so you can see that it automatically saves it for you, like all googly things, it automatically saves it for you. And if you don't want it, you can delete it, you can edit it. So you could change it to short answer or however you want to do that. You can see that it says it's saving or saved up here. The other thing you can do with any assignment that you create, you can schedule it or you can save it as a draft. So I often do that and say, okay, well, on Tuesday, I'm going to do this, this, and this in our class 1302, and I can schedule it for an 11 o'clock arrival. Okay. So I'm just going to close that up. There we go. And I'm just going to delete it. Okay. All right. So back to the create menu. So you can create material. What is material? Materials like PDFs or things that you want them to, like resources, those kinds of things. Okay. It is not, I'll just show you here. So in our class, where I use material is, and you can see, and let's just go back here for one sec. The material, icon looks like a page with like a little bookmark on it. So as we scroll through here, you can see QR code readings. That is a material. This week 7, this is just my little divider that I add, which means nothing, but it's material because it can't be assignment. It can't be one of those things. Otherwise, it'll show up in your grade book, right? And then if we go down here to our Google, like the recordings for class, you can see all of these are material, right? They got the little bookmark and the little page. So that's what the difference between material and the other things are, is it's just resources and that have no value to them as far as the grade book at least goes. And then you can reuse a post. In all honesty, I can maybe think of a couple times that I've used this. I don't typically use it, but it's exactly that. If you click reuse post, it's going to say, okay, well, if you want to reuse that post, where do you want to reuse it? And it'll give you a list of your other classrooms or your other classes. So I'll give you an example here. In our class, if I go reuse post, it'll say, okay, well, what class do you want to put it in, right? So then there's all these different classes that I have. And so not unlike this one that we're doing together. Okay, so you don't have to do that. That's actually not part of the checklist, but just so you know what reuse is or what it does. And then the other one is topic. So again, you're going to need to decide whether you're going to have quizzes, tests, assignments, or whatever else. Okay, on the checklist, it tells you that you need to have 3. So you have to figure that out again, what ones you want to do. Most common are quizzes, tests, assignments, but you can totally create your own topics that you want. And then you need to create 3 materials, 3 questions, 3 assignments, and you need to then put them under the appropriate topics. Okay. All right. What else can I learn you about this? Let's just go back to the checklist for one sec. Let's see if I missed anything super crucial. Okay. So we've got this part taken care of. We've changed our class banner. This is the email right here that you will invite me to, okay? So you invite me to this rdc.demo.student@gmail.com. So you might want to copy that and you can add me right now if you want, okay? So, and then you need 3 course topics. So like I said, these need to be graded and subject appropriate, obviously. You need to tag all your assignments. Okay, right. You need to tag all your assignments and questions with the appropriate topic. This one is one that I should explain. So in our class, all I really mean by that is this. If I create a new assignment, and I won't fill any of that stuff over on the left-hand side over, but if we come over here, what is tagging is the correct category. So is it quizzes? Is it assignments? What is it? Okay, so then that's what I mean by that. So assign it the appropriate category when you create it. Okay. Tag all assignments. Right, we did that already. So you've got 5 students. Once you have your 5 students, turn off your class code. Okay. If you don't, you'll lose 2 marks. You'll need to sort your students by first names. So I'll show you that too here. In our class, I'll just show you how that works. Is we go to people, and right here under the A to Z button, you can sort by last name. So then Evelyn becomes the first person. Or if I sort by first names, then Aaron becomes the first person. So you'll need to set it up so that you sort it by first names. Okay. Okay, where else were we here? We did that. Oh yeah, switch a commenting to students can only comment. So remember, that is under the gear. And if we scooch on down here to, where is it? Right here under the stream, students can only comment. So you'd switch it to that. Now you can see there's the save button pops up. So you need to click the save button for that change to occur. Okay. 3 assignments. So you need 3 announcements in the stream. Talked about those. 3 assignments in classwork. All assignments require a due date and a time, right? So if we're here and we go to classwork and we go create an assignment, right? It needs to have a due date, right? So pick a due date in the calendar. Doesn't matter which one you choose. It'll only force you to choose one in the future, right? That's it. Choose a time. Okay, I'll just choose it. By default, everything's due at midnight. In our class, of course, everything's due at, noon. So I changed that. You can choose whatever time and date and all stuff you want. The other thing you're going to need to do is change this amount of points. So there's 2 things you can do here. You can say, okay, well, that's worth 25 points. Or you can say it's ungraded. Okay. Ungraded means that, okay, I've taken it in. I've looked at it, but I'm not going to give anybody a mark for it. So that actually will happen in our class. You will end up, before the end of the term, you will get things back that I will return to you as ungraded. Because remember this, that when you submit something to me as the teacher, I become the owner of that, right? So if students need it in the future and you're just going to check out to make sure that they actually did it, and then you're not going to actually assign a grade, you should return it to them ungraded. Okay. You need to add a point value. We just talked about that, other than the default 100. Okay. Now, if you're creating an assignment, just like our HyperDocs and our brain lesson plans, you have to link to an actual assignment. And so the same rules apply for this as it did for the HyperDoc and the brain lesson plan. If you can find an assignment on the web and you can link to it there, perfect. If you can't find the assignment you want and you can't find so that you can't link something from the web, then you have to make it. Okay. So I would first try to find something on the web. And then what I would do is, if I can't do that, then I would have to make it. So let's go back to this classroom for 1 second. So we've got the assignment here. We've changed it to 25 points. The other things that you can do here is you can assign it to different classes. Okay. You can assign it to, or I'll show you this in our, it'll be better to show it in here. Right. So if I went here and create a new assignment, you can see here that I can assign it to any one of the classes that I teach. Okay. By clicking that on. Okay. And you can assign it to all students, or I can say, this is only for Aaron, Carson, and Emerson are the only people that need this assignment. So if you were doing differentiated assignments or assessments, and you're like, okay, well, this assessment is for my lower group, then you would click on, and no offense meant here, people who I've checked off. Then I would say, okay, this assignment is for these 3 people, and then I would assign that. Then maybe that would be my easy assignment. Then maybe my medium assignment, I would come and I would do the same thing, go click, 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 click. But typically what we do is we just go, it's available for all students. And that's by default, that's what it's on. Okay. Again, you need to decide what category it goes under, those point values, and the other stuff we've talked about. So the other thing you can add, and I've actually never done the rubric part because I just make my own in Google Docs. But so you could always add a rubric, but this is another one, is you can check for plagiarism. So then when students, so let's say you're writing me your technology philosophy, I can click this on, and then Google automatically checks to see if any parts of the assignment are plagiarized. And then it'll give you a warning. So then when you go to students' assignments, let me just get out of here for a sec. So hold on for a sec. Where is that? Right here. Right here. Right. So if I go here, under assignments, where the heck did that go? Just a sec here. Hold on for a sec. So for this assignment, obviously did not have that on, but what it would do then, if I click on errands, it would give me like an alert. It would give me an alert that there's something kind of fishy with this student's assignment. And then you can click on it and see that Google will say, well, they've identified that this portion of the student's assignment has been copied from somewhere else. So it's a nice little tool to use. In the past, when I've used it, it will give you that warning. And to me, if it's 3 words, because it'll pick up 3 words, it'll go, oh, these are copied from somewhere. To me, that's not plagiarism if you've used 3 words. Now, if you've used 14 paragraphs, that's different, right? So you have to kind of decide, and you laugh when I say that, but a few years ago, when I was chair of the program, of the BEd program, one of the things you have to deal with is plagiarism and those kinds of things. A student had copied 1,000 words from something on the line, copied it and pasted it into their assignment. So obviously the plagiarism checker caught that and said, wow, this is all plagiarized. And so, of course, we had to deal with that student in the appropriate way. Okay. All right. So linking to the actual assignment or making the assignment, it's up to you. Okay. Then you need to grade and return the assignments. Again, if I go here and I go back to the class here, and I create an assignment, right? And blah, 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 blah assignment, and it's worth, I don't know, 33 points. And I sign the due date of there, and I forget, we don't worry about the time. And I'm going to go assign. Okay. Oh, right, I did choose category. Let's make it assignments. Okay, and then I assign it. Okay, and I come here and I go, okay, it's assigned to 42 of you. So here we go. Aaron, yeah, I like you. You're a pretty good guy. You get 33. Alvaro, sorry, buddy, you only get a 20. Ariana, you get a 27, right? And then if I go return, it'll say, okay, sorry, these guys haven't done these assignments yet. Are you sure you want to return it? You can return it. Doesn't matter. So in your, your classroom that you're making for me with your 5 students, you can just assign random marks like that for them. Doesn't matter. You can give them zeros. You can give them 100%. You can give them anything that you want. But you can just manually enter the marks in, and you don't have to worry about, again, your users, your mom, dad, whoever, your friends, they don't actually have to do that assignment. And then, of course, here's that assignment way up here. Why is it up here and not under my assignment tool? Does anybody want to give me a shot at that one? Why did it post it way up here instead of under the assignment? Nobody knows? Okay, here's why. I'll just go to edit for a second. Yeah, I could. Yep, you're 100% right, Bradley. I could move it myself, but what I didn't do is I didn't assign it to the topic. Okay, so wherever you want that assignment to go, then whatever topics you create, then you need to add it to that topic. Okay, so if I went assignment tool, and then I'll save this. You can see that now that it put that assignment under that topic. And now I actually do need to do what Bradley is saying, is if it goes under a different week, you can just click, hold, and drag it anywhere you want. Okay. But you have to assign it to the topic. So for your assignments, if you're doing assignments, you create a topic called assignments, and then you need to put it in the appropriate place. Okay. I'll leave that there for now, and I'll delete it after. Okay, what else do we, what else we got in the checklist? Oh, yes. So we did that, yes. And then, oh, yes. Then you have to add 3 private comments and to make sure that I'm one of those people. Okay, so again, and I'll use our class as an example. If I go back here and I give, I'll give Aaron his 33. And so then what I can do is I could down here, just like we do in our class in 1302, I can add a private comment. So it's like, nice work, Aaron, right? Or whatever you want to put in there. So you need to have 3 comments in there. Probably the best person to do that with is me, although I can see all the other things in there and that's okay. But that's how you add a private comment. And oh, well, let me hold on for a second. You can do it here, or if I click return, go return it, it gives me the option to add a private comment at that point too. Now, here is an important thing to remember, okay? And I'm just going to give all of these people marks for 1 second. Okay, so I could keep going on. I'm not doing 42 people, but okay. So now we got check marks beside all of these people. Okay, and I'm going to return those assignments. Now, here's the thing that you need to be careful of. So if I go return and I go, oh, add a private comment. Bradley, your assignment sucked. It wasn't very good, blah, blah, blah. Everybody will get that same comment. So you got to be careful. If it's just to an individual student, you need to click on the individual student only and then give them a private comment. So we've done that in our class, and where I always give you, heck about please add your rubrics and checklists, and I throw that out to everybody. And then you're a person, well, Brad, I did include my checklist or my rubric. Why am I getting this private comment? It's usually because I've done it this way. I've just sent it out to everybody instead of picking on certain people. Okay. So again, just be really careful with your private comments. If you've got lots of people in this list, all of these people are going to get whatever I type in this little box here. Okay. All right. I'll just pop out of there. Okay, I'll go back for a second. This is the other thing that's really stupid, and I don't get why you have to do this, and Google has not fixed this, is that when you're in here and you're doing stuff in here, there's really no way to navigate backwards. You have to click either the back arrow or the name of your class, and then you have to navigate all the way back to classwork. There's no other way that I've figured out that you can get back to where you're at. So if you're wondering how you do that, that's what you've got to do. When you're in an assignment and you're doing the grading and all that jazz, you have to click there, and then you got to go back to classwork, which is a pain in the you-know-what, but that's how it works. Okay, so we did private comments, 3 resources as material. Okay, so you had to add 3, whatever, PDFs, links to movies or whatever it is. And again, linking to an actual assignment that either you created or found on the web. You need to post 3 questions that require a reply from students. So again, your students do not have to reply, but it would be a question that you're stating to them that they have to answer back. Okay. And again, you can assign, and if you just go back here for 1 second, let's go back here. If we assign a question, we can all do all the same things over here. You can make them graded or ungraded. Okay. You can assign a due date when that answer to that question is done. And you can add it to a topic, and students can reply to each other. Students can edit their answers, whichever you want to do. This would be a great tool. It is a great tool. It is a great tool to do entrance or exit cards. So if you're thinking, okay, I'm going to teach my lesson, and at the end of the lesson, I'm going to ask the kids 2 questions, a question or whatever, you can do it this way. So that's where I see the most value for the question thing is for something like an entrance ticket or an exit ticket kind of idea. Okay. Let's go back to a checklist for a sec. 3 questions in classwork. Right. So using different levels of Bloom's taxonomy. So again, like I said, make a couple multiple choice in a short answer, or a couple short answer in a multiple choice, and you'll get full marks for this part of the checklist. Okay. Your questions, when you create those questions, they should be set to ungraded, right? So here we are in our question. All we're going to do is come over here and go ungraded. So it's not going to be worth any marks. Okay. So if you were doing an exit ticket, let's say, what did kids, red light, green light, yellow light, what did you understand? What are you still foggy on? And are you okay with or not okay with? That doesn't need to be graded. So it can be an ungraded question. Okay. Create an assignment or announcement or question and save it as a draft. Now, I can't see, well, as a student, I can't see whether you've done that or not. So really, I take you on your word that you did it, and I'll award you the 2 marks. But here's how that works. So question, what day is it? Okay. And again, I'll just make it a short answer, right? So then what you do to make this a draft, and this goes for basically anything, is you click the little down arrow beside it and you go save as a draft. Okay. That's how you do that. Or of course you can discard the draft. You can schedule it, or you can ask a question, and you get the same menu for assignments and quizzes, but it doesn't say ask, obviously, under the assignments one. Okay. All right. What else do we got here? And then I leave a little bit of marks here as what I call my wow factor, right? So all of you are going to follow this checklist, but what are you going to do? Again, just like all of you graduating in year 4, you're all going to be at the same level. What are you going to do to make yours look better, right? How are you going to make your resume look better? How are you going to make, your application package look better than everybody else's? Okay. So I assign those marks for things above and beyond the call of duty, right? It's just like me awarding a grade of A or a grade of an A+, right? A+ are awarded to students who go way beyond the call of duty in the class, right? That kind of idea. Okay. I don't think I've got anything else down here. I don't know why I've got an extra page. There we go. And then down here, just as a little note to you, you can belong to 100 classrooms and in a regular Gmail account. So in your whatever, bradmcdermott@gmail.com, I can belong to 100 classes. And in your education account, you can belong to 1,000. Right? So if you're working for Red Republic or whatever, you can have up to 1,000 accounts, Google Classrooms. I don't do that because that would just be crazy. You can see even here in this class that I made before. If I go here, I belong to all of these classes, right? And that gets to be just a pain in the butt just to find stuff, right? So eventually what I'll do is I'll go here and I'll go unenroll and say unenroll. And I got to do that unfortunately, I got to do that for every single class to unenroll from people's classes. So by the time you're done your assignment, all these folks will be gone. And the only tiles that I'll see in here are yours. Okay. Okay. Let me just see. Is there anything else? I don't think so. Class code. I think we're good. I think we've covered everything in the checklist. Okay. With that said, what questions might you have? Is there anything that you're going, what did he mean by that? Is there anything you want me to do or show again? I know I went pretty fast. No? Okay. Okay, here's what the deal is then. You have the remaining 15 minutes of class to start this. You can stick around or you can leave. If you leave, have a great weekend. If you stick around, I'll be here right till the end or be even longer if you need me, and you can start doing whatever you want. Okay, does that sound fair? Okay, all right. So if you're heading out, have a great weekend. If you're sticking around, we can work on some things or figure other things out. And other than that, that's it. Take care.